Last season on the Dan Nicholl Show, I took to the track at Kyalami with the South African-born London-based motoring presenter, Miss Emma Walsh, and she terrified me as we went around the track at high speed with some cars belonging to a guy called Pablo Clark. Now, he sounded like this near mythical motoring figure, so I decided today I'd try and go meet him and find out exactly who he is, and I'd bring a motoring mad friend of mine with me. The friend in question is Derek Watts, who's best known for arriving unannounced on people's front doorsteps and terrorizing them armed with a camera crew. But away from Carte Blanche, his real obsession is with cars. The perfect person then to come and meet Pablo Clark. At least he was. I seem to have mislaid him. Derek?
Dan, how's it? How are you doing? Just discovered this BMW 745. Do you want to hear how it sounds? 500 horses.
I didn't think it was possible for Derek to get louder and more annoying, but he just did.
It was a problem getting into this car. I think getting out's going to be even more of a problem. Hold on to that for me a second, Dan. Thanks. Yeah. Here we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's a pretty impressive collection of cars, Mr. Watts. It's a bit like the first time I came around to your house.
This is my wife's second car, Dan.
So, tell me about this love of cars, because the world knows you as Mr. Carte Blanche, but I know just how much the car world means to you. Where does that come from?
I started writing on cars about 15 years ago, Dan, and look, I've just always had a passion for bikes and cars. Beauty is you get to drive a lot of different cars, from the Kia Picantos to the Porsche Taycans, so that's what I love. And the other thing I love, Dan, is that it's something that I've got control of. Because Carte Blanche, you get called in the morning, you got to be there in the afternoon and do the research. Cars, you can decide, will I go to that launch, what car I want to try out.
So this is Pablo Clark Racing, but the car I keep getting introduced to, and who Derek keeps speaking about, is called Paulo. Is it just a very consistent typo, or is there more to it? Paulo or Pablo?
So Pablo Clark Racing is the name of our team, and has been for now 40 years. So the Pablo is a play on Paulo, and the Clark is Jim Clark, because I remember seeing Jim Clark win his last Formula One Grand Prix at Kyalami, and so that's the link.
What was your dad's reaction when he found out that his son Paulo was actually this rising racing star, Pablo Clark?
Well, definitely not a racing star, but nevertheless he was, I think he was quietly happy, not happy, impressed perhaps, supportive, as he's always been as a dad, and accepting of the situation. So he eventually would come to the races, and he would instruct us before the race. Go slowly, be careful, but win.
So tell me a little bit about the racing career. What were the highlights of your years behind the wheel?
A very short career, a couple of years, 3 years in total. But I was very lucky and privileged to be racing at a time when there were big names that were right up at the front. Cyril van der Merwe, Jeff Mortimer, Willie Hepburn, Tony Viana, and so on. And I was, a good 10, 15 years younger than these drivers. So in a way, I looked up to them. And in a way, too, I was having to compete against them. And that really honed my skills. I then stopped motor racing to pursue a career in insurance and do the reasonable thing as far as my father was concerned. But like most sports, we have masters or veterans in motor racing too today. And so I managed to return to the sport around 2003, racing classic cars. And so I'm able to pursue my passion legally and officially now in a very different way.
You mentioned a little earlier the simulators. Now I've got Derek Watts here with me. He's car mad. I'm also spitting my Watts around me. Would we be able to try out these simulators of yours?
Well, that's a great idea, Dan. We've got two simulators, a pro simulator, which is quite active, and a Formula One car full scale with a simulator inside. We'll put you gents in that one.
All right, I've got no idea where to start. What do I do?
It's competition time, Dan. You're going to do a couple of laps, familiarize yourself with the circuit, and then we're going to do a timed lap. Fastest wins.
And the loser?
The loser will have to wash the other's car.
This is Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and we've got Dan Nicholl in the Ferrari Formula 1 car, and we're going to have potentially another fastest lap from Dan. First time out in Grand Prix racing in a Ferrari, it couldn't be better.
So I'm going to strike a balance here. I want to win, but I don't want to humiliate Derek. It's going to be nice and close, but I don't want to accidentally knock off the toupee.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
This is looking very exciting. We're halfway through the lap. We've had a purple sector in sector 1. We're looking at a purple sector in sector 2. We're looking at a pole position lap if it's well. Oh no, he's just driven into the wall. The red flag is out. The session is over. Derek, I'm sorry, but Dan has won.
Probably the most humiliating day of my life while Dan Nicola sips a cappuccino with grappa with Pablo, who's really Paolo.